love you.
I love you.
It's been a rough couple weeks for us, guys.
Couple?
You think so?
No, one.
1 week. It feels like eternity. Because we usually always get along, but we've been off sync the last couple days, and I don't like it.
So we went away to Toronto, then to New York, and that in itself was a kind of a stressful time. Stressful is the wrong word to say, but that was your first time meeting my family.
Yeah, it was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of nervous. Were you nervous to meet my dad?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jared's dad is very religious, and so in many ways, I feel like he thinks I poison. Yeah. So I was definitely really scared about that, and like little stuff, like he's amazing, he's an awesome dude, but like when they come over, we turn these paintings around.
Yeah.
Like that was rough. Moving itself, when we first moved into here, I feel like we had a day of like peace and just happiness because we love this space, y'all.
Yeah, it's amazing. This place is so amazing. Like, I was telling you the other day, like, I've never lived somewhere where there was literally nothing I don't like about this spot. For me, I think a lot of it was to deal with, like, communication. Like, I have a certain way of communicating and you have a certain way of communicating. And sometimes when in heightened emotional times, the way that we communicate is not as easy to be like, oh, I know what you're trying to say, and translate it into Jared talk. Or if I'm saying something that's not necessarily that you receive well, and you translate that into Shannon talk, and then you understand what I'm trying to say, not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like when we're in this heightened time of emotions, like we don't have that filter. It's kind of clogged up right now with filtering all of life. And so then when Jared comes into Shannon's world and he says something that doesn't come across right, you don't have that filter that can clean it out and you can see what I'm trying to say. And I have the same thing where right now it's been hard to filter what Shannon is saying and filter it through like what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. I was explaining to someone the other day that a massive difference between this relationship and my last one is the trust and intent. I honestly felt like I literally, after my relationship was done, I was like, yo, I've never felt more equipped in my life to answer the what is your weakness question. A lot of the times I felt myself saying out loud, like, I'm not a bad person. Whereas with you, there's just this like beautiful river of trust and understanding.
The filter that I've chosen with you is good. It's like you're a good person, your intentions are you, and when I look you in the face, I can see that you love me. You know what I mean? As far as like other people in other relationships that I've been in, I could look them in the face and I could see that they don't love me. And I think that's the problem is like most people, they go through life worrying about what they said. And it's if you know humans, you know that 90% of the time that they say something, they mean something else. And so you might say, why did you put that over there? And in my mind, I'm like, why are you coming at me? You know what I mean? But then I go think about it. Okay, wait, let's think about this logically. No, she just wants to move it. And Jared language would say, hey, why don't you actually put that over here? Instead of saying, why did you put that there? You know what I mean? But, that's where we speak different languages, and usually I can filter that. But with everything going on in life and everything, sometimes that filter gets dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in and I hear, Jared, you're a piece of shit. Why'd you put that there? You're stupid for thinking that. And that's when the argument starts. Mm-hmm. Instead of being like, no, actually, she just wants to put it in a different place. So let me just put it in a different place. Because in reality, I really don't have an emotional attachment to putting that there. You know what I mean? So that's where I feel like our miscommunication comes into play. If that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. We naturally, Jared and I have gone through times like this before. We're like, yo, shit is just off. And the littlest things trigger us. But I feel like embracing those times where things are off and expecting them to be off in a way. Like, oh, this is the new wave. It's kind of off right now. And knowing that, like, we just had a small fight 2 minutes ago, before we started recording this, but that we're going to have to brush that off and, like, put it, chalk it up to, okay, right now it's just not a time of being in sync. And if we do that, then we don't allow the little things that are tripping us up to become a bigger issue in our relationship or to last longer than the current stress is lasting. Because once we're fully settled in the apartment, once we're putting out more content,
and we're in a flow again,
we're in a flow.
Schedule. I know what is called to me. You know what is called to you, and it's like, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's perfect.
But I know what is called of me, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I think like I just want to work on in my character is reacting slow. Cause I find that when I react slow, I can better decipher what's going on. If I react fast, it's usually the wrong reaction.
Something that you said to me this morning that like really stuck with me is you said you don't have to put space between you and me for me to feel something from you. I'm paraphrasing there, but in essence it was like, if something is bothering me, I don't have to be visibly put distance between us so that you can figure it out. It's like I can communicate that to you, or even just communicating that like, hey, I need space right now, versus just like that silent uneasiness. That's when we fill in the gaps with our own thoughts, and our thoughts usually end up being worst case scenario. And I don't want that. I don't want to create a relationship that's based on insecurity or manipulation of insecurity. You know what I mean? Of making you feel jealous to get a rise of you, or making you feel sad or isolated or vulnerable. Like, that's just not the atmosphere that I think that either one of us will grow in. But it is a habit of mine when I'm upset, because of the fact that I know I have a quick mouth, to like close up and say nothing. And to like be in my head and think. And I think you interpret that a lot of times as like I'm putting space, but it's more like I'm protecting you against saying something that I don't quite understand myself yet.
No, I hear you. That just makes me feel not safe and not like secure and not like feel loved. So what ends up happening is I end up making the situation worse, because I am a man at the end of the day, and what men do when they feel emotion is they close up and they push too.
What are like, and I'll answer this question too, 2 things that you want me to learn from this time?
That I am still growing and I'm still learning. I'm trying to, learn. I'm trying to learn like and get rid of the character flaws that I have from the way I grew up or the way that I learned as a kid. So, as long as like, I guess for me, as like, I just want to be able to have this space to make mistakes without it assassinating your view on me.
I want you to know that in difficult times, remember the thing that I was initially attracted to you about was like your confidence. Like the first time that I saw you, it was at your event. But the way that you were moving, the way that you were like addressing people, like that side of you is important. And even throughout the stress, I need you to remember that if anything, being in your head about it or being timid is going to make things worse. And that's also knowing my personality too. I think also keep in mind that I'm not as nice as you. And that's something that I'm working on. I think I'm getting better through you. And I'm definitely becoming more empathetic, more patient, more open, more loving. But it doesn't come as natural for me to be like that. And so sometimes, especially in stressful situations, I revert back to more being like my dad, which is like making snap decisions and, assessing, making a decision and moving on versus, considering your feelings.
Yeah. And I want you to know too, like, being nice has been learned. And I don't want it to be abused. But it's been learned. It's been something that I worked hard for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I am nice. I am. But I worked really hard for it. So like, I have mean thoughts too. I have a mean side too. But I self-control that. And so, I don't ever look at you as somebody that can't control it. So when you do get mean, it lights me up. It lights me up. But I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's always, I want you to have the space to look, to get nice too, and like you are a nice person. You are, but I want you to have the space like that. It's learned. It's not everyone. I don't think anybody in the world is naturally nice.
Mm-hmm. Last closing thought. Do you think the open side of our relationship has made this time worse?
No. I think that it's made this time. I mean, obviously you pulled the card in a really weird time.
So I didn't pick that.
Huh?
I didn't pick that.
You didn't pick it, I know, but I'm saying that it's a time where it's obviously gonna be harder than most because we're not in sync. So it does make me feel uneasy, but it didn't make this time worse.
I think that's really what it's about. At the end of it all, it's like the base of you and me being on the same page and being eye to eye, and then everything else above and below and around doesn't have to matter. The circumstances don't matter. It's like this that matters the most. I'm so grateful for you, and I love you, and I think times like these, like the contrast of things, strengthen that, and getting to see different sides of you, and watching you grow. And at the end of the day, this is really your expertise. In a really fucked up, bizarre way, guys, Jared is much more of a relationship expert than I am. I would say that. I think I definitely would say that in these times, like your emotional maturity, your understanding, and your objectivity is what makes you incredible at this. And I learned so much from you. And so sometimes going through conflicts, I get to see that part of you in action that like I'm so seduced by. And I'm not saying I'm causing problems on purpose to like see these things of you. But nonetheless, it's taking the balance of things and knowing that you're going to go through rough times with people. It's going to be rocky. I think at the base of it all, what I would encourage people to say is if you're in relationships that are going through rough times, you have to really assess what's happening underneath. And if what's happening underneath is not good, you're not going to be able to fix what's happening on top. This is all on top stuff. It's all surface layer, circumstantial, evidentially, because we're in the situation, because we're moving, because we just got back, because. But under the surface, there is like love, mutuality, respect. There's insight, and I love you.
I love you too. Are you gonna go halfway or not?
No, I wanted to kiss you, but I'm going lipstick.
Chillin' with your friends and your waist tattoo. I just wanna stare, but your face bad too. I don't really care that it's 2:08. You can come and hang, tell your friends come too. Shopping too often, you open floodgates. Like it when you drop it, don't stop it, you getting off late. Hit me on my phone, I'll come pick you up on a Sunday.